What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, friends and family? Last night was wild. Hmm. It's like the more calm I get, the more wild the things are around me. Man, it's crazy out here. It is absolutely crazy. So it's the ladies. It's the ladies. What up, Jerry? Jerry was on there. Molly was on there last night. It's the ladies. Yes, it is. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Starman. Well, we do have after hours tonight, so that should be popping. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Pleasantries. Yeah, we got after hours tonight. If you did not watch the show from last night, the Q show, it was absolutely insane. I was chilling. You know me, I'm not for the victim Olympics. I'm just gonna chill on a regular basis. Shout out to Q. Q was like, hold on. You're not gonna talk about my guy. Q had my back last night. You know what I'm saying? Y'all said Ava was absolutely cooking. Yeah, the ladies was like, "Meow." Ladies wasn't having no problems whatsoever. So I was chilling. I was chilling. I was so relaxed. I was in a good mood. I had ordered me some DoorDash. Oh man. It's nothing like eating the worst things for you. It just makes you so happy. So happy. So life is interesting. What up to the chat? What up to everybody that's in the streets? Tomorrow we got a lot going on tomorrow. Jazz is a reason you're making cake, huh? We got a lot going on tomorrow. We got a lot going on today. All right. So over the next couple of days, this is really how it's gonna play out. So number one, after hours tonight. Number two, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then you can adjust for whatever your time zone is. We are going to do a stock club slash block club. So we're going to kind of do a hybrid of both because people want to know some specific details. How much do you keep and what accounts in order to then invest in whatever it is that you're going to invest in. And then we're going to deep dive into the real estate aspect of things and the problems that you're going to run into, how you can profit from it. So we're going to deep dive into stock club, block club. So that live stream is going to happen tomorrow inside of the Patreon. If you want to tune into the Patreon, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Don't get left behind. Run up this bag and let's get to it. All right. Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Thank you to Tiege Hanley for continuing to hold us down. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. And I want to play a little quick game for the early risers, for the people that's here on time on a regular basis. The people that's here on time on a regular basis. So remember when I was telling you guys, Latoya, what? I can't believe it. You missed a hot one, Toya. You missed a hot one. Remember when I was telling you guys, I think it was last week, that I am going to start exploring America, all parts of America, that I was going to start exploring America. Well, I am going to do that. And so for the people that are here, whenever I decide that I'm going to take an impromptu trip and go somewhere to explore America, I am going to either the day of or the day before, I am going to play a little game with you guys. And so the game is for the first person. Listen clearly. I don't know if I should do the city or if I if I should just do the state. Should I do the city or the state? Nah, I don't think I'm gonna do the city because y'all will never guess the city. You never guess it. You never guess it. All right, so we're gonna do the state. We're gonna make it easy for the first one, and then we're gonna increase the difficulty as we go along. So for the first person that guessed the state that I am going to fly to tomorrow on my solo journey, for the first person that guessed the state, I will cash app you $100. Just a light hundred. First person to guess the state that I see inside of the chat. If I don't see it, then I'm gonna just assume that you didn't say it. So, first person that guess the state that I'm going to, I'm gonna cash app you when I see it. Let me see. Let me go through these and see what y'all saying. I don't see it yet. I don't see it. I don't see it yet. Good thing I didn't say the city because y'all ain't getting this at all. It's only 50 states. I don't see it yet. Let me look closer because y'all can't be this off, are y'all? I don't see it. This is crazy. Am I missing it? I'm scrolling through slowly to see if I see it. I don't see it. Somebody got the city, but they did not say the state. Somebody said the city, but they did not say the state. The state, the state, the state, the state, the state. Somebody said the city, but they did not say the state. You said the city, but you didn't say. You don't get credit for saying the city or a city close, a city within the state, because I'm not going to that city. Let me see. I see all kind of stuff. I don't see nothing. Should I just say it? Because this y'all, I can't believe that y'all just missing this. I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it. Uno DD1. Uno DD1 is the first person that I seen guess it. And you have won $100. Uno DD1 was the first person that I scrolled through to see it. And that is it. Hello? When? Yeah. Yeah. I thought Uno DD1 said it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Uno DD1. That's the first person that I seen it say it. He wasn't first? Okay, all right, bye. Who was the first person to say it? If it wasn't, I scrolled through slowly. I made sure that I scrolled through slowly because I didn't want anybody to miss it. I seen Uno DD1 put up Massachusetts first. So I'm not going to Boston, all right? I'm not going to Boston. All right, hold on. Let me see. Don't worry, I'm gonna search it through. Give me a second. I'm gonna look up. I could find out who said it first. Don't worry about it. I got some tools over here. So let me just double check to make sure that I got it. Hold on. I could find it for myself. 1 second. Yes, Uno DD1 was the first one. I literally just put it into my search to see who said it first. It was Uno DD1, then it was A Tuck 413, Nate Starr, then it was Tariq, then it was Ty Hill, then Tariq said it again, then Johnny Hines, Leslie Aaron, OG Rihanna, Felicia, then Brandon Nicholson. Uno DD1 was the first person to say it, and I am going to give them that is the fair thing. I looked it up. They were the first person to say it. Somebody has said Boston first. And then, nope, y'all can't cap on me. I was able to look through, and in my software, I could see who said the words first. So somebody said Boston, and then I said, nope, you got to say the state. Uno DD1 was the very first person to say Massachusetts. So I will be in Massachusetts. I'm not going to tell y'all the city. Maybe I'll do the city tomorrow. All right, cool. So this is what we'll do. Uno DD1, mods, can y'all get Uno DD1's Cash App and then text it to me? Your car, if you can text me Uno DD1's Cash App, we'll do that. And then tomorrow I'll do another $100 because it's some far it's and then I'll tell you what city that I'm going to. So for those of you that don't want to get here early, you're gonna miss out on your $100. And then we just gonna do another one. I got the tools. Yep, I got the tools. So your car, if you can text me Uno DD1's Cash App, I will get that over to them today. And then we gonna get it popping. All right, that'll wake y'all up. Let's see. You know what? That's what happens. You gotta give some people some money in order to wake them up. Now you want to be engaged. Oh, yeah. What up, Mika? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? So, if you guys want to get to the city, if you want to guess the city, we're gonna do that tomorrow. Uno DD1, you want $100? I'm a Cash App you as soon as your car texts me what's going on. So I will be in Massachusetts. I will be taking a dolo solo to from state to state. I gotta find out what's happening in Massachusetts in a specific city. I want to see everything. I want to see what y'all eat. I want to see how y'all living. I want to see what the real estate is looking like. I want to see what y'all night spots are. If you got any strip clubs, you there, I'm there. All right. All right. You gonna win tomorrow, Loso way. But and here, let me just say this: you got to be here on time. If you are not here on time, then because I'm gonna do it as soon as I start the live stream. Literally, I'm gonna do it as soon as I start the live stream. If it's only 200, 100, 300, 400 people here in the beginning of the live stream, um, that's when I'm gonna do it. So shout out to Uno DD1 for getting that. You won. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody. Am I going to the game? Oh, the game, the Celtics game tomorrow? Mm-mm. I'm not gonna go to the Celtics game tomorrow. The reason that I'm not gonna go to the Celtics game tomorrow is because I won't be there in time. Because I got to do a live stream for the Patreon members at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then right after that, I'm gonna head over to the airport and I'm gonna catch a flight. So I won't be there in time to be able to catch the game. If I was there, I would catch the game, but I'm not gonna be there tomorrow. You know what? What's tomorrow? Wednesday? What's the when is the New York game? I might fly over to New York and catch a game. when they go back to New York over at the Garden. We'll see what's happening. We'll see what's happening. Anyways, as soon as your car send me that link, I'll send you the 100. And then we're going to go from there. Let me make sure that I acknowledge the Cash Appers in the building, and I'm going to acknowledge the Super Chatters, and we're going to get it popping. Mike, that dude, I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for your consistency. Also want to give a shout out to my dog, Spencer Campbell. He says, have a great show, AD. Thank you, Spencer. We got a full show today. We're going to get into some controversial stuff. Let me read some of the Super Chats, and then we'll get it popping. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. We got a live stream coming up tomorrow before I catch my flight. Brandon Nicholson says, Ava ate Jazz up last night. Manuel AG says, Ava was absolutely cooking last night. They call me Mr. Bibbs is in the building, says, don't like Jazz, and no one is right unless she says you're right. Jazz she's cool. Y'all stop tripping off Jazz that bad. Vaughn says, good 80, good morning, but last night, dang, wild ain't the word. On another note, Jazz need to do some self-reflecting, and Molly cooking as always. Y'all love Molly. Y'all love Molly. The Marker J says it's a bunch of Mikas in Massachusetts. It's a bunch of Mikas in Massachusetts? No. Let me tell you something about my Mika. There's only one of one. There's only one of one. They may have similarities in their look. They may have similarities in the way that they try to present themselves, but it ain't no other Mikas out here in these streets. All right, it's only a one-on-one. Marker J says, but Jazz, you don't get back to the community. Jazz said, I don't get back to the community. They call me Mr. Bip. No, she said, I only have money. That's the only thing that matters to me. Jazz was the reason why I first started watching you. Jazz is the reason why I always turn the Monday Night Live show off. Latrell says, what up, though? I appreciate you, Latrell. Mika says, good morning, AD. I appreciate you. Don't worry, Mika. You'll be here very, very shortly. And I'm not telling the people when you're coming. You're just coming over. Coach says the best morning show. I appreciate you. My dog Quentin says, love Jazz. Y'all are mean. The black woman in Lululemon. Yeah, I did a review video of that yesterday. It was absolutely ratchet. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all inside of the chat. Y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with turn on your notifications. Also, send this to your family and friends because we don't want to be rich by ourselves. Let's get it popping. All right, so first things first, I got to give y'all a little bit of information. We're going to go informational, then we're going to go into controversial, then we're going to get to politics, and then we're going to deep dive into the money. Cool? Y'all with me? All right, so let's get it popping. So the first things first, as a person that travels pretty regularly, sometimes 2-3 times, sometimes four times a month, depending on what time of the year it is. Every time that you go through the airport, when you go through TSA, they say, hey, and they give you this little piece of paper and they say, hey, we want to make sure that you get your real ID because if you don't get your real ID, you won't be able to go through the airport. So a lot of people are unfamiliar with this. And the reason that I feel like this is important is because we got a Patreon meetup coming up in June. And I want y'all to have enough time. I want you to have enough time to be able to get your real ID. All right. So before I go into the details, the restrictions, the requirements, and how long it takes for you to get your real ID is completely different from your regular ID. Your regular ID is not going to work when it comes to getting through the airport anymore. You are going to either need a real ID or a passport. If you have a passport, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you got a real ID, then it's going to be straight. But it's a lot of long lines from people that waited at the last minute in order to get their real ID. Check it out, y'all.
This morning at DMVs across the country, the real ID rush is on, with lines stretching on for blocks.
It's very intimidating, let me tell you.
The line is intimidating.
Very intimidating, yes.
Ahead of tomorrow's long-awaited May 7th deadline, we found people waiting outside this Chicago location for up to 4 hours. When you walked up here and you saw this line, what did you think?
Oh, took my breath away. Not in a good way.
You tried to buy a spot in line.
Yeah, I have $40 in my wallet. I was like, hey, anyone wanna give me their spot in line?
Beginning tomorrow, TSA will start requiring those boarding domestic flights to show real ID compliant driver's licenses. Passengers can bring some other forms of ID, including a valid passport. TSA says those who don't have acceptable forms of ID should allow extra time for screening.
We don't want anybody to get delayed and not be able to travel when they get to an airport.
The shift rooted in calls for more safety in air travel, with Congress passing the Real ID Act in 2005 after the 9/11 Commission recommended stronger federal standards for state-issued IDs. Following decades of delays, the wait is finally over, and lots of Americans are scrambling.
So they've been requiring this for a long time. Obviously, some of you guys wasn't outside at times when before 9/11, right? A lot of people wasn't outside before 9/11, so they wasn't familiar of how airport travel used to be a long time ago. It was a lot less restrictive, a lot less security. You can get some drugs through a lot more effectively, definitely. But nowadays, they got way more technology. I look at the lines and I'm just like on that movie Up in the Air. Have y'all ever seen a movie Up in the Air? It's an incredible movie, Up in the Air, with George Clooney. But he identifies the lines with the shortest resistance. Now they have additional things like Clear Plus TSA pre-check, all of these things, right? So I'm always trying to look to see what is the easiest way for you to get to the airport. I stereotype. I look for Asians. I like to get behind Asians. Asians are really, really good with being prepared and making sure that they have slip-on shoes and that it's easier for you to get through TSA. Also, I look at the type of technology and I'm aware of the type of airport that I go through. If you're going through Atlanta, they're going to require you to take all of your laptops, and they're going to require for you to take out your tablets and your shoes in order to get through. Thank you to your car. I appreciate you. In order to get through it, so it takes a lot longer. At DTW, at Detroit Metro Airport, they have the latest technology to where you don't have to pull anything out of your backpack. And you don't even have to go through the thing where you have to do like this in the front of it, right? You could just stand in front of it. All right, let me just mute that for a second. You could just stand in front of it and you could do like this, and you stand like, like you're a Mario Kart character. It's a quick scan and you can get right through. So, TSA is much different than it is. This is something that was passed, I believe, back in like 2004, 2005. And they required a real ID back then, but it's been a whole lot of delays. So it took 20 years. It took 20 years for them to implement this whole real ID situation. All right.
I've been trying for on and off for a week, and I either miss it or they flat out tell me it's booked.
The summer travel season already off to a chaotic start, with air traffic controller shortages nationwide under a renewed microscope. United Airlines warning passengers to avoid hard-hit Newark Airport, canceling close to 36 daily flights through the crowded hub. Now, America's airports are counting down to another major shift, with the Real ID ripple effect already unmissable. So amid all of this, we should point out, we're also seeing a lot of state and local officials doing a lot to address, they say, false online rumors about Real ID, specifically that you're generally legally required to get it by tomorrow, or that you won't be able to get it after tomorrow. They stress neither of those things are true. You will absolutely be able to get it after tomorrow. And for most Americans, you really only need it for when you're planning to fly within the U.S. Guys.
Where else would you fly? Let me ask the question, because you have to have a passport if you're flying outside of the country. You can get it. It sounds like you're going to have more of a delay. It sounds like you're going to have more of a delay if you do not get it by the time that you're supposed to get it. And the deadline, I believe, is tomorrow. So they're saying that the deadline is May 7th. So if you do not have a passport, it is a strong possibility that you will get delayed. And the lines are really, really long, because you know how we Americans like to do it. We like to wait to the last minute before we get anything. And so, you don't want to be in that line. You don't want to be delayed. You don't want to have a problem. You don't want to miss your flight. I canceled even having actually, I need to get it again. I canceled my Delta Sky Club, because I usually get to the airport within 10 minutes of me having to board the plane. So yeah, they're saying that it's a lot of people are in line. A lot of people are running into delays, and a lot of people are trying to get their Real ID all at the same time. So don't wait. Don't wait. If you have a flight coming up, if it's something about to happen, then make sure that you get your real ID.
Here, Maggie, thank you.
Well, let's drill down on more of those facts. We've got Steve Lorenz, Deputy Executive Assistant Administrator for Security Operations at the TSA. Mr. Lorenz, good morning to you. First of all, set the scene for us.
What's always been the case for people without a proper whatever, Quentin? You said that's always been the case for people without proper ID. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
How ready do you think this country is for real ID? How many people have got their IDs up to date?
Some people are saying a real ID takes away your rights and freedom. How? How does the real ID take away your rights and freedom? Y'all got to hit me with some facts. Y'all can't just say something to me. Y'all got to tell me what the truth is.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for having me this morning. I will tell you, currently, we have about 81% of the population that is traveling has real ID compliant driver's license or a passport or other acceptable forms of ID. So we are well prepared for tomorrow for the launch of Real ID implementation. There's been a lot of work that has been taking place over the last couple months, but also the last couple years to make sure that we're ready. So TSA is ready to go. There's been a lot of collaboration and coordination on our part to make sure that the agency, our employees are ready to handle the passenger volumes coming our way.
So, Steve, again, just to be clear, we actually want to show folks at home right now some of the other forms of ID that you can carry with you if you do not have a real ID, including, of course, your passport. I was surprised to find out there are actually 15 different kinds of IDs that people can have.
So let me go back to this. It says, obviously, the best option is I don't have a real ID. I could just tell you right now. But I always have my passport with me, so I don't have to worry about it. An enhanced driver's license, global entry, a military ID. So if you're a military member, then you shouldn't have any problem. Permanent resident card, border crossing card, or veteran health ID card. I don't know if any of you guys have any of
to find out there are actually 15 different kinds of IDs that people can have with them if they don't get one of those real IDs in time. If you don't have one, Steve, remind people what they can expect if they get to when they get to the airport for their flight.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we would recommend is just give yourself plenty of time, not only for parking, but checking in with the airlines, and give yourself the opportunity to make sure that you go through the screening process. It's going to be important to mention, it's going to be a full court press at all the airports across the country. So we're going to have staff that's going to be positioned in front of our security checkpoints. If you have questions, if there's any questions about acceptable forms of ID, we recommend that you go to tsa.gov. It has the list of acceptable forms of ID that we have. But we're ready. We're ready to go for tomorrow, and we're going to make sure that the customers have a seamless experience going through the security checkpoint process.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen. If you don't have your real ID, as mentioned, show up a little early. You can probably still get on your flight if you show that you your real identity there.
Give yourself some more time.
Yeah. Thank you.
And by the way, I would just also recommend, thank you, Steve. Check your ID. I was going to have to go out and get one. I checked my driver's license last week. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I actually have one.
You're compliant. You're compliant.
Yeah. What did you have? Star or flag?
I got a star.
Yeah. Okay.
Got a star.
What'd you got? Star?
I haven't looked yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Mr. Roker got his probably 5 years ago.
No, but a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And everybody, I was kind of surprised at 81%. That's great.
I know, exactly.
That's pretty good. So people are listening. We like.
Well, for me in particular, I use a passport mostly for everything that I do. So I don't necessarily have to worry about it. If you guys have a military ID, if you got a passport, you shouldn't have to worry about it. But I just want to remind you guys, because I don't want anybody coming to me saying, Anton, I wasn't able to make it to the meetup in time because I don't have a real ID and I got stopped and I missed my flight. No, I don't want you to miss your flight. Regular IDs is I guess, being phased out. If you go and renew your driver's license, then you shouldn't have any problem with getting it. If you don't have a driver's license, then you're going to have even more of a problem, because that's probably going to be a precursor to not being able to get your passport. And I know it's a lot of passport bros is going to the Medellin. We're going to talk about that on After Hours tonight. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what's going on with the Real ID. All right. So just keeping y'all up to date. Let me read a couple of super chats. And then we're going to go from there. Oh, shoot. What am I doing? Let me read a couple of super chats. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of the show. Quinn says, no, true. Is Quentin downgrading his ability to communicate effectively? Vaughn says, AD visit Nantucket Island in Massachusetts is just beautiful. Well, the way that I'm trying to do it, Vaughn, is I'm trying to immerse myself in whatever city that I go in the surrounding areas. So I don't go to a state and then go to all of the different places all at one time. I'm going to immerse myself in there because I plan on going back to the States or back to these same states to go to different cities multiple times, all right? Quentin says, people have been flying with no ID for years. You just have to have additional screening going through TSA. Okay, I feel you. Thank you, Quentin. AD, are you going to see Big Mike and Barry at Martha's Vineyard? That would mean I will be telling you guys what city I'll be visiting now, wouldn't it? But you got to wait till tomorrow to find out. Nate says, what extra security measure does Real ID have? I don't know. Ask Quentin. Ask the people in the chat. Quentin probably knows a little bit better than me. I just know that every time I go through TSA, they always say, well, make sure you're going to have your you got a passport? Don't worry about it. You're good. So, yeah. Baseball King says, Anton, do you accept TikTok video links to review? Yeah, whatever video. X, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Just don't send me into something that's a little shady. I don't want to go down the dark web. You know what I'm saying? You can send that to me. Corey P says, what you think about Memphis, AD? I haven't been there. I've been to Nashville. I haven't been to Memphis. That's the thing. Like, I want to go to Nashville and then go to Knoxville and then go to Memphis, and I need to see all of it. I want to see it. So I'm going to head to Memphis pretty soon. BC says, tomorrow is going to be trash. We just got instructions on how to handle the chaos. There's going to be a lot of missed flights. Well, that's why I'm flying out today. And that is exactly why I'm flying out today. Speaking of flights, so thank you, BC, and thank you to everybody that contributes into the platform. I appreciate y'all. Didi, I got you. I just got your information, I believe. Speaking of flights, I want to bring y'all up to speed on what's going on in Newark. So the reason that this kind of hit my radar is not just because of what's going on with the Real ID, but also because I had a buddy that we grew up together, and he was telling me that he wanted to get his pilot's license, and then he was telling me that he wanted to be an air traffic controller. And I said, well, why would that's something that I'd never hear anybody say anything about an air traffic controller. I don't even know how much an air traffic controller makes. And so he was saying, yo, Anton, I think I want to be an air traffic controller, but it's going to be very, very difficult. And this was back in the day, right? So when this story came across my timeline, I said, because guess what there's a shortage of? Air traffic controllers. But an air traffic controller is not a job that you can just sit around and chill and do anything with. You have to be very, very, very much in tune with what is going on. You cannot slip even a little bit because you basically have people's lives in your hands. Let me say that again for the people in the back. You basically have people's lives in your hands when you become an air traffic controller. All right, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with 10 of your notifications. This is what's happening in Newark, y'all.
We do begin tonight with new reporting here. What appeared to have been a major communications breakdown at Newark Airport. Sources telling ABC News tonight air traffic control computer screens went dark for up to 90 seconds. This was last Monday. Controllers losing communications with packed passenger planes approaching for landing and planes taking off, unable to see, hear, or talk to the pilots of the aircraft they were monitoring. Pilots could be heard learning of the outage over the radio. A number of controllers on duty during that outage so shaken they've now taken medical leave. The air traffic control system already chronically understaffed. There have been delays at Newark Airport for 8 straight days now, arrivals averaging 4-hour delays. Now a major airline tonight warning about the chaos there. Newark is, of course, one of the country's busiest airports, and now comes this new reporting that air traffic controllers suddenly had no way to communicate with the passenger jets that they were monitoring in the air. ABC's Matt Rivers leading us off tonight. He's at Newark Airport.
Growing alarm at Newark's Liberty Airport tonight. ABC News learning air traffic controllers lost radar and communications with planes packed with passengers for 60 to 90 seconds last week. A system-wide outage last Monday at a Philadelphia facility that manages the airspace around Newark Airport caused controllers to lose the ability to see, hear, or talk to all arriving and departing aircraft at one of the busiest airports in the country. Pilots can be heard learning of the outage over the radio.
I just got told that the approach lost all their radars. 3 of their 4 radar screens went black, and they have no frequencies.
Controllers from another tower advising pilots that radio frequencies have failed.
And they want you to be advised that they may not be able to radar contact you because of the radar issues, and they may lose you on for certain times of when you're flying.
In a statement, the union saying many controllers took medical leave, citing, quote, a traumatic event. United Airlines, which has a major hub at Newark, accusing the controllers of, quote, walking off the job. But no matter the reason, the result has been chaos.
Oh, okay. So when I went to do a little deep dive into this so that I can understand exactly what was going on, because I thought that it was 100% based off of that they were just so shaken up that they decide to, they was just broken up, right? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Things was probably about to fall out the air. We have to be careful, all of that type of stuff. Oh my God, we just so shaken up. I had a nervous breakdown. I almost had a stroke because it went out and I almost had a plane crash. That's what I thought was going on. What I didn't realize was that air traffic controllers were basically staging a protest for whatever reason. I don't know if it's over pay. I don't know if it's over the fact that they feel like they overworked, that they're understaffed, that they don't feel like they have the sufficient equipment or help to do their jobs effectively, that they have too much pressure. Maybe they pissed off at their supervisor. But they are basically staging a protest which impacts what happens inside of the air. So, number one, if you are flying over to New York, do not fly into Newark. If you're flying to New York, don't fly to Newark. Sometimes you can get a much cheaper flight flying to Newark than you can into JFK or LaGuardia. All right, LaGuardia and JFK, they've made a lot of updates at a lot of those airports. They're closer, but they could be a little bit more expensive. A lot of people fly into Newark and then they take a train into New York, which adds a little bit to your travel time, but it's a lot more efficient as far as the price and how much it's going to cost you to get there. But they're saying that there's been a lot of delays out in Newark because of a shortage of air traffic controllers. So they could be protesting and saying, listen, we want more people on the job. We want more days off. They could be using it as leverage, as a negotiating tactic. It could be a lot of things. And all of it could be true. They can be that, and they could deserve to earn more. But there is largely an air traffic controller shortage in the United States of America. So you will always need air traffic control. If somebody decides that that is the career field that they want to go into, then maybe that's something that you really should pay attention to. If you're into airplanes and you're into being really in tune and all of that stuff, then maybe you want to become an air traffic controller. It's definitely a lot of job security around it, but I didn't know that they were all calling off basically in protest.
For the 8th day in a row, delays and cancellations mounting. And tonight, the average delay on some arrivals nearly 4 hours.
That's crazy.
Nobody knows what's next and if my flight's getting delayed more.
The FAA has already warned that runway construction and a shortage of controllers would disrupt the number of planes scheduled to fly in or out. United Airlines cutting at least 35 round-trip flights per day, saying without more air traffic controllers, they have no choice. And David, the real concern here, those roughly 90 seconds where air traffic controllers were essentially cut off from all those planes. And tonight, a budget proposal in the House calling for some $15 billion to modernize the nation's air traffic control systems.
Yep. So there you have it. I'm going to also capture it from CNN's perspective because I want to make sure that you guys get the full understanding of it. Again, I think that it's a great career. I'm going to look up personally exactly how much air traffic controllers make. Let me look that up while this plays.
We do have breaking news coming in just now. The FAA has just now imposed a new ground delay for Newark-bound flights this morning. As we mentioned, the 9th straight day of staffing shortages and snarled travel at that airport. Also this morning, we have new details on what really was some terrifying communication breakdowns that led.
So according to my screen, according to what I'm looking up right now, this is saying that air traffic controllers, according to the AI overview, that air traffic controllers On average, obviously it can go higher, it can go lower, whatever. On average, air traffic controllers earn around $137,000 per year. However, salaries can vary significantly based on factors like experience, location, and overtime worked. Average salary, median annual wage for air traffic controllers was $144,580 in 2024, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Entry-level salaries could be $44,000. Experienced controllers, especially those in high-demand locations or with advanced certifications, can earn significantly more. Many air traffic controllers work overtime, so that is the base salary, which can greatly increase their annual income. One Reddit user reported being on track to earn around $250,000 per year due to overtime. Some cities like Houston, Texas, potentially offering even higher pay. So you can travel, you can go places, you can make a lot of money. They say that some of them is on track to make $250,000 a year, and you have job security. So again, on the Millionaire Morning Show, we look at it a little bit differently. We don't just look at it and say, oh my God, this is what's happening over in Newark, New Jersey, and what's happening. I look at it and I say, wait a minute, is there a shortage? Should people become air traffic controllers? How difficult is it to get into the field? What certifications do you use? What kind of schooling do you have? And so I think y'all should look into that. If you're looking for a new career field and you no longer want to be a part of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Victim Olympics, maybe you're looking to be an air traffic controller.
To this now more than a week of chaos. Newly obtained audio offers a glimpse into the moments air traffic control lost communication and radar with planes in the air, leaving air traffic controllers essentially flying blind. Here's some of the audio where the tower tells one plane that the radar is down.
That's 674 approach. 74, radar contact lost. We lost our radar. So just stay on the arrival and maintain 6,000.
So that incident was on April 28th. It was so traumatic. Sources tell CNN at least 5 employees have now taken special government leave to recover from the stress of it. And that has compounded the ongoing staffing shortage and further.
And they're protected by the union, because it says the union saying that they didn't just walk off. They were traumatized. 20% of the air traffic controllers walked off of the job at Newark. Nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers. One runway closed for work technology failures, and this is all at Newark. So, yeah, man, if you are looking to make a career switch and you want to go into something a little bit more challenging, and maybe you want to be open to being a air traffic controller. I don't know anything about it. I never really looked into it. They say you have to be under 31. You have to be under 31 to get into being an air traffic controller. That doesn't make sense. Interesting. Anyways, you hear air traffic controller is a stressful job. How true that is, I don't know. I think that a lot of jobs are stressful. But the more in demand that you are, the more opportunity that you have to make a lot of money. Anyways, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's move on into the next part of the show. I'll read super chats. Let me make sure that I got that information from your car. Your car is trying to convince me. Your car is trying to convince me. Nope, that's not true. That's not true. Hold on, let me see something. All right, let me double check it just to make sure that you guys understand what's going on. Let me send this to your car just to showing, so you'll better understand what I'm looking at. All right, your car. So now you can see what I see, so you can better understand how I know who was first. All right. All right. Now, I need Uno DD1's Cash App so I can send him $100. All right. Y'all ready to continue on with the show? All right, let's get into it. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to get on with the show. Quentin says, the airline industry is a mess, and I need a raise, AD. I got you. I've been giving Quentin raises all of this time. Quentin, are you going to be in, are you going to cover the 2026 Olympics? You might have to work. Shout out to AD. I listen every morning. Shout out to Mun. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you. Warlord for King says, come to Pensacola. Where's Pensacola? Y'all tell me where Pensacola is. Tammy Ramsey says, what are your thoughts on a white woman who called the little black boy the N-word with the hard ER? She has raised over $700,000 in a comment towards blacks from people who donated are disgusting. We had a whole show on it last night. It caused a big old ruckus. It was a big thing. It was pretty crazy, personally. And to be honest with you, I think that two things can be true at the same time. Pensacola's in Florida? Okay. Two things could be true at the same time. She could be wrong, and I think that white people are tired of black people always being a victim. And they're tired of being called certain things, but then it not being addressed on one side and then it being addressed on the other side. So the same way that everything becomes about race, now it becomes a big deal. And so you're starting to see that it's a lot of people that don't agree with black people, but they've been signing for a long time. And now it's starting to boil over because everything is becoming race-based. I don't agree with her calling them it, but at the same time, I also see that it's turning into a bigger thing than it should be because nobody wants to calm down, think logically, and hold individuals accountable. Everything has to be a group effort and a race-based thing. So racism is only alive and well because y'all keep on highlighting it and making it a big deal. Jerome Gray says, more chaos from the Trump administration, from the Trump clan. Thank you, Jerome. I appreciate you for the super chat. Baseball King says, sent you to TikTok. The woman thinks she cooked. Sadly. All right, cool. I appreciate you. Thank you for sending me that. I'll check it out. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what you guys really want to discuss. And I've been seeing this kind of shortly like pop up on my timeline, and there's a lot of people that was talking about it. I think that we're going to have this conversation on After Hours tonight in the group. So I'll be curious to see what other people say about it. However, his name is Rodney Hinton Jr., if I'm not mistaken. Rodney Hinton Jr. And apparently this played out in Cincinnati. Now, I just so happen to like Cincinnati. I've been through Cincinnati. I spent a day there. I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. I've been through Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is a very cool place. It's interesting. Very Midwest city. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and present to you guys how things has played out, what is going on, give you a timeline of what is happening, and then I'll give you my thoughts afterwards. So this is a general summary or an idea of what's going on over in Ohio. Check it out.
A tragic story out of Ohio. A man whose teenage son was killed by police is now accused of killing a sheriff's deputy in turn. Rodney Hinton is in jail in Cincinnati after he allegedly rammed his car into this officer, identified as Deputy Larry Henderson, a 33-year veteran of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, was retired, technically picked up a shift as a traffic cop for a day. It didn't turn out well. Henderson was not involved in Hinton's son's death. Tom Hansen's been following this tragic story, and we do warn you, as you may imagine, some of the footage here you're going to see is graphic.
He's got a gun. He's got a gun on your right. On your right. He's got a gun.
2 hours after watching this body cam video of officers shooting and killing 18-year-old Ryan Hinton after a police chase, officials say his father, Rodney Hinton, got into his car and purposefully drove into a sheriff's deputy directing traffic on graduation day near the University of Cincinnati, killing him.
He was so well liked and so well known. We are so deeply saddened.
Sheriff's deputies packed a courtroom Saturday as Rodney Hinton was charged with aggravated murder. They were there in support of the fallen deputy, now identified as Larry Henderson.
I understand there is a lot of sadness and a lot of anger in this room right now.
The day before, Cincinnati police say they got a report of a stolen vehicle at this condominium complex. When officers arrived, 4 men suspected in the theft got out of the vehicle and fled. One of the men was Ryan Hinton. He was shot twice and killed by a police officer who says he pointed a gun at him.
And he felt threatened for his life, and that's why he discharged his firearm.
Investigators say they recovered this loaded gun from the scene, allegedly found in Hinton's possession. Lawyers for the family say the next day, Rodney Hinton appeared distraught watching the body cam footage with police. After the meeting, that was the last time they heard from him. The Hinton family says they are devastated for the family of the officer who was killed.
The officer was just out doing his job, directing traffic.
So, all right. Because before I heard the story, before I actually heard the story, I heard a lot of people talking about it. And so when I heard people talking about it, and they kept asking me, Anton, what do you think about it? Anton, what do you think about it? All right, cool. So let's put it all in perspective and let's lay it out on the floor before I give my thoughts and before I give my opinion. Stolen vehicle. They were in a stolen vehicle. They caught them getting out the stolen vehicle and running. Now, some people online said that he was unarmed. Latoya Blue is saying that they didn't have to kill the boy. Some people online were telling me before I got to review it right here in front of you guys in real time that he was unarmed. They are saying that he was armed and they recovered a pistol at the scene. I see black people outraged at the killing of the boy and is justifying the father then going into crazy mode, right? Because his son was killed, which I can understand that as a father myself. And I'm not even getting into the part where they said that he was armed and he was stealing cars and all of that stuff. But as a father myself, I can understand he probably went into a rage. And this is why I tell people, and it's very difficult in an extreme situation like this, I tell people all the time that men don't have the luxury of being able to express their emotions, because the minute that you let your emotions control you, then you go out and you do something that you're going to probably regret for the rest of your life. So again, let's put the facts in it based off of what's being what's being shown. Stole a car, Kia boy, in the streets. In my opinion, that is bad parenting. That means that you failed as a parent. If your kid is out in the streets stealing cars, and according to this, he had a gun on him, and he's running from the police, and he got a pistol, and they see the pistol, and they recover the pistol after they shoot him, then, and first of all, this is bad parenting. According to what is being shown on the video, 100% bad parenting. The second thing is, he goes into a rage as a father, and then he kills a retired sheriff deputy that was pulling an extra shift to do traffic at a graduation. He spots the first police officer that he can find, and he runs his car into him and he kills him. So I see a lot of people online that are justifying an individual, because we have to separate this. Everything is not about race. You have to separate it. individual that was completely unrelated, could have been a saint, could have been doing great for the community, was just picking up an extra shift, probably got kids somewhere. An unrelated former police officer that's not even on the force, doesn't even probably carry a gun, retired, was doing traffic for graduation. He gets killed because the father is angry that the son was stealing cars and had a pistol and got killed as a result of doing something that he wasn't supposed to do. So now that I have the facts, or what is being told to me as the facts, what I'm trying to understand is, how are you guys justifying any of these actions whatsoever? Hitman J says you can't tell the dad how to grieve. Well, I'm pretty sure that you shouldn't grieve by going and killing somebody else with your car that's completely unrelated, that had nothing to do with it. Here's another question that we have to ask ourselves. If the father goes out and crash out like this against somebody that had nothing to do with the incident whatsoever, regardless of whether or not the boy was right or wrong, if he was willing to do this, then how can we say that the son's actions is not a reflection of what the father was? Because all we have to go by is what we see. If the father is crashing out like this and is willing to kill somebody unrelated in a fit of rage and emotion, how can we not say that the son is not a reflection of the father? I gotta say the uncomfortable part out loud. I have to say the uncomfortable part out loud. So you out here committing crime, doing things dirty. I'm trying to understand how the black community is justifying this. Grandfather says both the officer and the young man was scared. Well, guess what? When you don't commit crimes, when you don't steal cars, when you don't have pistols on you, you don't have anything to be scared of. I walk outside every day and I'm just chilling and I'm having a good time. And I don't worry about an officer in fear killing me and taking my life, because guess what? I am not doing crime and stealing people's property and running out and giving the police a chase in the first place. So I got to say the uncomfortable part. I've seen a lot of cover photos where people are saying, stand your ground, not backing down against the police officer. All right, well, let's go over to the next part, because I want to see multiple different parts of this, because I need to understand the full context. That's my initial impression based off of what is reported, based off of the news. No, I guess I can't watch that video. Let's see if we can find another one.
To Ohio now, where authorities say a man intentionally struck and killed a sheriff's deputy the day after the suspect's teenage son was fatally shot by police. In his first court appearance this weekend, Rodney Hinton Jr. walked through a room packed with law enforcement officers. CBS's Lisa Rosner is tracking the latest developments for us tonight. Lisa.
What do you mean, eye for an eye? The son is the one that committed the crime. They were stealing and they had guns in the car. You wouldn't want that inside of your neighborhood. You wouldn't want people to what? Condolences to the family.
The deputy killed has not been identified, but fellow law enforcement describe him as a fantastic officer and person. Law enforcement is grieving one of their own. The sheriff's deputy was directing traffic at a local university graduation Friday when he was struck.
The officer was just out doing his job, directing traffic up near the...
Let's go over to some of these comments, because I like to interact with the chat. Mr. Show Me State says, of course Anton would side with the cops. If the father was a pastor, would it be a difference? I'm not condoning what was done, but protests ain't. What are you protesting? Your son was a criminal. What are you protesting? Your son was a criminal. He was stealing cars. They found the car. They got out. They ran from the police. They didn't submit. They didn't say, you know what, hands up, whatever. They ran from the police. He had a gun on him. What are you talking about? Siding with the? Of course, I'm going to side with the police officers. They the first ones that respond when we ended arrest. Why wouldn't I side with the police officer in this instance? More importantly, what is there to side against? The police officer that died, the one that he took his anger out on, had nothing to. He wasn't even a police officer. He was retired. He was directing traffic. So you're telling me that you're siding with an emotional man whose son is committing crimes and running around with guns and stealing people's cars? Because let's be clear, it's probably not the first car that they stole. And you're telling me that I'm supposed to side with criminals and a father that was so emotional that he crashed out and ran his car into an unrelated person that had nothing to do with the incident? What's wrong with y'all? Every day, I get more and more confused, and I'm trying to figure out, is it me? Am I so far disconnected between what's right and wrong to where wrong is right?
The University of Cincinnati.
The alleged driver is...
Somebody said a kid was killed. He wasn't no kid. He was doing grown man criminal activities. That ain't no kid.
Is 38-year-old Rodney Hinton. He is the father of a teen fatally shot by Cincinnati police on Thursday. That teen was 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. Police say he...
So an 18-year-old that was out there stealing cars with a pistol, that's a kid? That's the kid. Okay. Well, if y'all say so, listen, I'm not going to get emotional over this junk no more. I'm not going to crash out. I'm not going to go off. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth. I'm just going to highlight certain things, give my opinion, and I'm going to let it go. Because y'all could have each other. Y'all could have each other. Y'all got it. The culture is going to be, you can eat each other. You can have it. From the twerking and Lululemon, to the stealing of the cars, to the running around with pistols, to running from the police, to killing people that ain't even got nothing to do with it. You got it. You got it. You got it. I'm going to let y'all dissect it. I'm going to let you do a whole deep dive. I'm going to let you figure it out and try to figure out whether or not it makes sense or not. You got it. I'm not tripping. You right. You were absolutely right. I concede.
He was armed and running away from a stolen vehicle when another officer opened fire. Police body cam footage of the shooting was shared with the teen's family the same day the deputy was struck. Prosecutors allege this was no accident.
There are no evidence of skid marks. There are no evidence that he tried to avoid him.
More than 30 members of the sheriff's department filled the courtroom for Hinton's arraignment. His attorney addressed the crowd.
I understand that there is a lot of sadness and a lot of anger in this room right now, but in the community at large.
We have a deputy that's killed simply doing his job. It's a shame. It's tragic.
Rodney Hinton has been charged with aggravated murder and was denied bond.
And then this is video or footage. I didn't get it. I guess that's not it. So anyways, I had some footage of him actually living out. So all of the deputies, apparently they all came in solidarity to make sure that they supported the killed deputy, who obviously retired, but then he didn't know that he was going to actually get himself killed, standing and directing traffic at a graduation after he had retired. He thought he had dodged all of the YNs. And there was one more King YN that wanted to make sure that he drove his car into him and absolutely maim him, kill him, and take him away from his family. Let me see what y'all got to say right now. I got to know what y'all got to say. I need to see it. I need to hear it for myself. Let me see what y'all saying in the super chats. All right. Zay says, should I get a doctorate in business administration after an MBA? No, I don't think you need a doctorate at all, especially if it's going to cost you. I don't see that at all. Abe the Hunter says he is a crasher for real. Royal Ray then says, people take y'all emotions out. He had a gun, so as a cop, he's supposed to wait and see if he shoots. No, as a father, he can grieve, but the right way. Freethinker 513 says his sister was my next door neighbor when I lived in Cincinnati 5 years ago. Saw her post a GoFundMe and laughed. See, you got a GoFundMe? I'm sure black people are going to take care of it. It's selective outrage, says Brothers Keeper. First, it's Carmelo Anthony. Then it's the GoFundMe Becky. Now it's the father avenging his son. The media continues to emotionally manipulate. Agreed. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Robinson, says the father is wrong. He failed his son, then killed an officer that had nothing to do with the incident. This reminds me of Luigi's case. Mad about health insurance and crash out by killing a random health insurance CEO. You know what's so funny about that, Mr. Robinson? You know what's so interesting about that? Is that when we were arguing back and forth about the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf incident. Think about this for a second, y'all. When we were arguing about the Carmelo, I'm going to read the rest of the super chat shortly. When we were arguing about the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf incident, and there were a lot of people that said that it is the father's responsibility, Austin Metcalf, the kid that got killed, the kid that got stabbed. I've seen a whole lot of people in the chat that said, hey, wait a minute. It's his father's fault that the son was so extra. It's the father's fault. It's the father's fault. And then I've seen people saying it on the flip side with the whole Carmelo Anthony situation. When I tried to offer grace and I said, wait a minute. They living in a higher class neighborhood and we need to wait and get all of the facts. Y'all said, no. It's the father's fault. It's the way that they were raised. The father need to be responsible. We need to hold them accountable for whatever it is that they're doing. Cool. So y'all was on that side of the fence on that. You was on that side of the fence on this. And now for this particular incident, you guys are saying that the father is justified for the crash out, but not responsible for the behaviors of his child. We call this selective outrage. Y'all don't time nobody out. Don't time nobody out. Let them rock. If people have a difference of opinion, let them rock. If people feel some type of way, let them rock. As long as they are not overly disrespectful, talking negatively about somebody's child or talking negatively about somebody's, personal, getting extra personal and getting overly disrespectful. If they have a difference of opinion, let them rock. Let them rock. We don't all have to agree, because I certainly disagree with a lot of y'all on this. Let them rock. If they hate, let them hate. If they feeling some type of way, let them feel some type of way. We don't care. Let them do what they do. Let the chat chat. Chat lives matters. Let them expose themselves. Let them say who they are. I want to see who the people are. I'm never offended. I'm never offended when somebody is crashing out, even in the chat. And the reason that I'm not offended is because I want to see who the people are that are dusty. I want to see how they think. I want to see what culture that they support. I want to see how trash the culture is. I like to identify the people that I need to stay away from. I'm not tripping at all. Let them rock. Let them rock. I don't care if it's people that are dusty in here. Let them rock. Do not block anybody unless they are being overly disrespectful. Don't time them out. Don't block them. Let them say what they want to say. That's not what we do over here. We don't censor people. We let them say whatever they feel. And we're going to have this conversation even more on after hours. Just because they don't see it the same as you don't mean that they don't deserve to say what they want to say. The chat is open to everybody, not just people that agree with me. Let me read some more super chats, and then we're going to go on and continue with the show. Tiger Stewart says Anton is a sellout. Facts. Facts. 100% I'm a sellout. 100% I'm a sellout. Tell me something that I don't know. I don't rock with people based off of skin color. I call a spade, and I hold people accountable for their actions. Somebody gonna get mad. Everybody is gonna get mad. That's a fact. But the thing that you got to tell me is that who am I selling out from? Who am I selling out from? Facts. I don't align with everybody that's black just because they black. I align with people that's of good character. Every other culture don't align with people just because they of that culture. White people separate themselves from the trash. Asians separate themselves from the trash. They got whole cities dedicated to getting rid of the trash over in Japan. Facts. You can't offend me. You can't offend me with something that I'm rocking with. Anything else? I don't want to live next to y'all. I don't want to live next to y'all. I don't want to kick it with you. I don't want to be next to you. I don't want to be kicking it with neighbors that don't cut their grass, that smoke trees all day, that could possibly steal my car if I get something that's a little bit too exciting. I don't want to have to dumb myself down in order to have conversations with certain people that surround me. I want the best and the brightest around me at all times. And I don't care what you look like. I don't care what gender you are. I care about the character. I care about what it is that you do. And I care about whether or not you're going to actually make me look bad or you're going to make my life difficult. If that makes me a sellout, sign me up all day long. Because the only thing that I subscribe to and the main requirement, you know who I align with? We all group ourselves. We all separate ourselves based off of these mythical groups that's promoted to us that then tells us that we need to align with somebody based off of this and not based off of whether or not you're actually a good person. I only care about Jesus. That's it. Only thing that I subscribe to is the word of God. Those are the rules of my life. Now, every day I work very hard to make sure that I meet those expectations, and sometimes I fall a little bit short. But that is the litmus. That is the bar for me. The bar is the word. That's the bar. Those are the only expectations that I have. If you're saying that you have expectations from me because I'm black, then I'm sorry that I have to disappoint you because I don't have those same expectations for myself. If you're saying that you have expectations for me and you don't even know me, you've never met me before, you don't know what my character is, you don't know what my wife is like, you don't know what my daughter is like, you don't know what my employees are like, you don't know anything about me, you don't know about my family, my upbringing, but you look at me online and you say you have expectations for me just because of the pigmentation of my skin, then you're going to be highly disappointed. I'm just going to tell you right now. The decisions that I make is based off of what I read in the Word of God. That's the bar for me. That's the bar. Some of y'all don't even believe in God, but you black, but I'm supposed to rock with you? I don't. Some of y'all is, and it don't mean that I'm gonna remove your humanity. I'm letting you rock out in the chat right now. Some of y'all think that some of y'all just straight up worship the devil. You don't even not believe in God. You worship the devil. But I'm supposed to rock with you? See, Paul Hardrick says Jesus isn't real. Cool. You can believe that. I tend to believe that he is. So that means that you and I have a difference of opinion. Now what? I know that Jesus is real. Absolutely 100%. Absolutely 100%. Giovanni says Anton is a super sellout for real though. Think about this for a second. I'm going to highlight this and then I'm going to move over to the next part of the show. Do you think that I would care about whether or not somebody says Anton is a super sellout? FRFRTHO. Bro, you're not even going to be able to get a job. You're not even going to be able to get your CDL. Don't you know that they require for you to be able to read and write English effectively now in order for you to be a truck driver, in order for you to get a regular job? You might get deported. I don't even know if you're real. I don't even know if you belong in this country. The last thing I'm worried about is a YN telling me that I'm a sellout for real. Bro, you got to worry about whether or not you even going to be able to go down the street and not get arrested because you don't have a driver's license. You have bigger things to worry about than whether or not I'm a sellout. You can't get into the spaces that I'm at. You can't even get close to me. You can't even be a friend of mine or anybody that's in my circle. We don't care anything about you. The last thing that we're worried about is somebody that can't even spell effectively. I promise you, as I board my first class flight and I get my suite at the top of the building, and as I get inside of my penthouse, I promise you on God, on everything, that the last thing that I'm worried about is somebody that said for real, and said though. Don't even know don't know the difference between there, and there. I'm not. You right. I pass y'all every day. I give you $5 in order for you to go and get your food. I also stop at the drive-thru. I know I'm not supposed to be in the drive-thru because I'm supposed to be on the diet and working out, but I stop at the drive-thru. I see you inside of the drive-thru. I tell you, hey man, hold on, dog. Can I get some hot fries? You sit there with your pants hanging down, with your lips black, with your eyes bloodshot red, and with your hair all squiggly. And I say, damn, I don't even know if I want these fries. You give me the new set of fries, I just go ahead and throw it away. You know why? Because I don't even trust you. I don't even know if you washed your hands. All I want from you is my fries to be hot. I don't want nothing else from you. Make my fries hot. Wipe my car down effectively because I know y'all like to miss my bumper around a license plate when you drying off my car, when you working for the Chaldean that employs you at the car wash, right? Please make sure that you pick up the trash in front of my building that I keep giving you $5, $10 every day to do so. You do a halfway job, right? Please make sure that you're not crossing the street on a green light because every single time I have to wait after the light turned green because you always crossing late because for whatever reason you want attention in the middle of the street. And then when you become bubs, some of y'all get the reference, shout out to The Wire. When you become bubs later on in life, I'll be donating to you to make sure that you can feed yourself for the rest of your life, all right? I know y'all wait for me every Thursday, every Wednesday, so I can come out there and give out some money in the streets. I'll see you later, bubs. I'll see you later, bubs. I like that new cart that you stole from Target, that you got all of your stuff on. I'll see you later, bubs. I like you laying down in front of those church steps. Just make sure you don't do it when it's too cold. And after you get done suffering on this earth, you're going to bust hell wide open, and I'm still going to be partying in heaven. All right, bubs. That's what we calling these people. We're not even going to call them Dusties no more. We calling them bubs because we don't want to know. We don't want everybody to know what we talking about. And if you don't know who I am talking about, it's called The Wire. Here, let me get a picture for y'all, and then I'll move over. This is Bubs from The Wire. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. This is Bubs. This is what he looked like. Let me show you what he looked like when he was pushing his golf cart. Some of y'all may not be familiar with him. This is Bubs. This is you. This is your future. All right? This is your future. Stealing toilet paper, selling CDs on the side of the road. This is your future. All right? Future crackhead of America. Unite. This is you, Bubs. Keep stealing carts from Walmart and Target. They don't let you do that at Aldi because you got to put a quarter in, and then you don't get your quarter in, you can't get your money back. This is you. That's your future. Now, do you think that I'm concerned about what Bubs is telling me because Bubs is calling me a sellout? I'm not worried about Bubs. Bubs got bigger things to worry about, including the crack that he got to smoke later on in the day. All right? Anyways, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm. You're disrespecting the memory of Bubs. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and move on with the show. Blue Blood Royalty says, I think men like him are tired of there being proven statistical facts on how the justice system dishes out justice. DVG says, Tom, please read John 8 and 44 to describe that dad. I get there. Executive Suite MLE says the internet SJWs have folks thinking a cop got ran over as the same cop that pulled the trigger. This is nuts. Were they Kia boys? Yep, they was Kia boys. Amen01 says, in the words of JJ Icefish, F is you doing? Stephen Butler goes on to say, why are we not holding the father accountable? Please explain. I don't understand the support for him at all. Blue Blood Royalty then goes on to say, it's a fact that black men are, I don't know what that means, conducted more and get more time than others races for the same crimes under someone's circumstances. Okay. All right. Thank you for the super chat. If y'all see me stuttering, all right, let me just say this. If y'all see me stuttering, if y'all having me see me having trouble with super chats, it's not me. If you got your headphones in, but you're not watching the TV and you can't read the super chats along with me, it's not me. I'm reading the super chats like they present them to me, okay? I just want to let y'all know that. I have no problem reading. I can read effectively. Whenever the articles are written effectively, I can read it straight through. I have no problems. It's not me. These super chats is kicking my ass. All right? Let me continue to read super chats. I don't know if y'all doing text-to-speech or what, but I'm going to continue to read. I appreciate you. 80 says, is one thing if he went after the one that unalived his son, not justifying that he does. It's a completely different thing when he goes after a random officer that is the furthest one away from the situation. I appreciate you. The Gray Wave then goes on to say, what's good, AD? Man, it's like we're living in the Twilight Zone out here. You're not alone, bro. These people are weird. Trust me, you're not tripping. I appreciate you. Fahim Jackson says, I know this is a bad time, but that news reporter was really cute. Yeah, she is a baddie. She bad as hell. Mr. Robinson says, I don't think that this is a black thing by supporting this AD. Remember, everyone black and white supporting Luigi's killing of the health insurance CEO. Everyone is emotional. Everyone is messed up. Radmatic says, you're thinking right, Anton. Okay, so I know that I'm not crazy. Janice says, Dad has totally negated what could be an injustice done to his son by murdering a man that had nothing to do with his son's death. We got to do better. P. Shank says, good morning, Anton and the Millionaire Morning Show. I appreciate you, P. Shank. Rohan says, I wonder if he would have driven his car into the cop if he were black. 80 goes on to say, given how the father responded, I can see your point, Anton. I agree the father failed his son. Can't allow emotion to dictate your moves in life. 392Q says, bad parenting. Mom was going to say he was a good boy. If that was my son, I would have had to accept my son crashed out. Sad case. Parents knew he was there doing that YN stuff. High Tolerance says, Ninja's really out here playing the equalizer. Condolences to the family. Skinny Boy Django says, thanks for your opinion. I agree with you. Octavius is in the building. Thank you, Octavius. Emotional men are at the bottom of the barrel, literally the base of all of our issues. Wyatt in the building says, can you open a chat line to try to understand someone's logic behind the situation? Bilderberg Boy says, good morning, AD. You believe me now when I said that black folks are captured operation in America. They are cursed. I'd rather be pro-truth than pro-black. BZE in the building says, please pray for me, AD. Please pray for me, AD. I'm in the hospital right now getting treated for type 2 diabetes. I'm only 26 and I regret not taking care of my body. Well, the good thing about it is that it's reversible. It's reversible. They're going to get your blood sugar low. They're going to get it down to that 100 to 120. They're probably going to put you on some kind of medication, some metformin, some insulin or something like that. But it is reversible. All you got to do is change your way of eating. You're fine. You'll be fine. Don't think that you're going to die. They're not going to cut your arms off. They're not going to cut your legs off. You'll be fine. Get your numbers down. Focus on making sure that you test yourself and test your blood sugar every day. And then completely change your diet. You'll be fine. All Skin Folk and my kinfolk says, Night Jade. 392Q goes on to say, 2 days ago in South St. Louis, a teen got killed for trying to steal a man's car. The owner killed him. No outrage from the black community then, though. Yeah. Janice says, I'd rather be a sellout than be for sale. Agreed. Lee Barton says, we got to take accountability when we die and go before God. We don't have a choice but to take accountability for our actions. Well, some people don't even believe in God, Lee. That's the problem. Abundance Mindset says, AD, hold on, let me get him. How is he a sellout who committed to helping the culture? How is someone a sellout that gives an honest, open opinion and info daily with context from a C-student perspective? Wyatt B says that man failed as a parent, which lead to degenerate behavior of his son. Nola Grillin says, Anton, you're not a sellout. Our culture is sad. I'm glad you're calling out this bad behavior. Royal Ray says, sup, my guy Anton, Ray the Entertainer, checking in. What up, Ray? I appreciate you, bro. But it's crazy in the black community. We deal with young men like him every day, killing innocent ones. Like kids, y'all outraged and he did wrong. 392Q says, bring the black t-shirt out. I got it right here. I got the black t-shirt right here. Sometimes I have to bring it out. AR goes on to say, the dusty comments are real, AD. We defend criminals over those that are doing the real work. Jerry says, I don't think we'll ever get through a show without AD going off on the dusties. Well, they now Bubs. Shout out to Bubbles. Bubs is short for Bubbles. That's what they call them. What's up, Bubs? Shout out to the Bubbles in the chat. Hell is real. Do people understand when we die? What we do in the relationship with God depends on where we spend our eternity. Mr. Lott says, in college, I had a McDonald's job and a chick let the fries hit the ground because she said she had bad energy on it. I'm over here crying with laughter, memory unlocked. Unknown says, Bible says everyone will go to heaven. That's not what it says. It says that the lake of fire enlargeth itself. That's what it says. And Jalen Hawkins says, just emailed you a video of a cop getting a ticket and arresting a cop that gave the ticket. Judas Radio says, hey, Anton, I met and took a picture with you at the BCF inauguration. Shout out to you, Judas Radio. Gala this past February. You always on fire. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Judah. I appreciate you. Yes, we did. The commenter says, black man, who do you have more in common with, the white man or the black woman? What? Shanice Turner, you can call me Anton. Just call me Anton, bro. Revoke my black card and uninvite me to the cookout if it has anything to do with advocating and supporting murder. Facts. Jalen Hawkins says, not sure if the parking ticket cop was a real one. Well, I'll look at it and I'll check it out and we'll go from there. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Now that we got through the emotional stuff, we can start to get over to tariffs, all right? So, tariffs. I know my ladies is liking this one. Tariffs is starting to impact the ports and even the beauty supply stores. Now, y'all about to clutch all pearls on that one. Let me change the color. Change it to the blue. especially for my Democrats that's in the chat. I'm going to change it to that light blue. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it, y'all.
The executive director at the Port of Los Angeles has warned that shipping volume from China will plummet this week. He joins me now to discuss. Gene Soroka and Justin Wolfers is here, a professor of economics and public policy at the University of Michigan. Gene, tell us what you've seen so far, because I know you've already said that a number of major American retailers, the big guys, have stopped shipments from China altogether.
Good evening, Steph. What we're seeing is that about 20% of the normally scheduled vessel arrivals for the month of May have been canceled. This week in particular, the cargo is extremely light, about 35% lower than the same time last year.
So for your average person who's saying cargo ships, how does that affect me? What is that going to mean when they go to their small store in their hometown or a big box store next week or the week after?
Well, from the last segment, you hit it on the nail on the head, Steph. We've got about 125,000 importing companies that call the Port of Los Angeles home every year. No one has more than a 5% share. So it's the small to medium-sized folks that didn't have the opportunity to stock up on inventory before this day of tariffs hit. Now they're in the middle of the crosshairs saying, either I buy at these exorbitant prices, 2.5 times more what they were just last month, and I can't pass on that cost to keep up with the big guys. So we'll likely see about 4 to 6 more weeks of normal inventory levels, then some spot shortages. You may not be able to find exactly what you want, where you want it.
Justin, weigh in here, because we're 4 to 6 weeks away from seeing real impact. These small businesses, they can't call the White House. They have no lobbying ability, and they certainly didn't have the money to load up on inventory the way a big box store could. And we know from the big box stores, they're already predicting pain.
Yeah, let me take Gene's story and add a little bit more economics to it, which is we know that there's less stuff coming in. That's what Gene just told us. We're not making more stuff, so therefore there's going to be less supply. Look, there's 3 ways this can resolve. I think a lot of people have been very quick to jump to the everything's going to be sold out, there'll be nothing left on the shelves story. That's one possibility, but it's not the only one. Another possibility, of course, is the reason that they're not ordering this stuff is they realise they're going to have to jack up their prices, and they'll jack them up so high that not many people are going to want to buy stuff. So it could be we've got a big adverse price shock coming, and you're going to get some sticker shock coming right at you. The third possibility, of course, is that the president may well plunge the economy into recession. If we're at a point where we've got too much demand and not enough supply, well, the recession will wipe out all the demand, and maybe there will be enough stuff on the shelves, but it'll be there because mums and dads can't afford to buy it.
Gene, from your perspective, is there anything that could turn this around in the short term?
Absent getting together with trading nations and crafting these framework deals that the administration is talking about, no, I don't see any change. On the export side, the American farmer is getting hammered. Here in California's Central Valley, whether it's almonds, walnut handlers, they're not selling. And just in the month of March, Steph, Brazil sold more soybeans to China than ever in their history. Lower trade barriers and favorable exchange rates.
So what this is basically saying is that the ports, especially over in Los Angeles, and somebody, I think it's Nightjade says, AD, do you think these companies would have already prepared for this? I mean, we knew these ships would be lighter. Yes, I think that these companies probably already prepared for it. They anticipated. I think that the companies is actually excited because they get to lower the inventory a lot of times, because what you don't know, especially at a lot of these big box stores, that's the reason why they have all of these crazy sales, is because they can't get rid of things. Now, one thing that I did see and one thing that I know is that sales are up at all retailers across the board. Even as far as iPhone, Apple, people are accelerating their purchases, and it kind of put a jolt into the industry in that it's encouraging people to go and buy the things that they were going to put off buying. A lot of people are buying it now because they're thinking that there's going to be higher prices attached to it. The question that I have for a lot of people is, what is it that you guys think that you're missing out on that you need from China? So weave is life. What is it that you guys think that you need that you're missing from China? You guys are unbelievable.
Tariffs are expected to cripple some small businesses, including those in the beauty industry. What some owners are doing to protect their bottom line. Local business owners say impacts of Trump administration imposed tariffs are trickling down and causing headaches. Today I talked with two women who own a beauty supply store in Mableton. They say they're trying their best to do good business, but also not make it unbearable for their customers.
Your total is $10.59 today.
For Dana and Sharis.
All right. See you later.
It's a family environment inside Zoet Beauty Supply in Mableton.
We just pray that God keeps continuing to cover us.
But now they are asking for divine protection as they say Trump imposed tariffs against China. It's impacting prices.
Wait. So you're asking for divine protection. So you're seeking God because you want to make sure that you can sell more hair. Oh, man. God forbid women learn how to do their own hair. God forbid women learn how to get a curl wand. Now, you ain't even got to do the curl wand now. Don't they got like the air ones or the ones from Dyson, the Dyson ones that don't even burn your hair out and stuff like that? Because like we used to hear y'all, I remember when I used to go to church and you would hug up on a woman and you can actually tell that she curled her hair because her hair would smell like curl wand. I remember when you would give a hug to a church lady. Oh, Anton, how's it doing? And give her that hug. Oh, yeah, she just curled her hair this morning. She got that curl wine hair smell. God forbid that y'all actually learn how to do your own hair and we don't get red weave wigs all day long. They got the air ones now, don't they? Yeah, hair be smelling burnt. I remember that. Shout out to all of the church ladies. Growing up in a Pentecostal church was something interesting. It was an interesting interaction.
At this point, it's no longer possible. They are here in full effect. The prices have gone up extremely high.
Trump hiked tariffs on China to a staggering 145%. It's making it difficult for some Chinese business.
And then the women nowadays, because they don't want to put the curl wand in their head, and they haven't learned how to do it the other way. Because I remember like women back in the day, they used to roll their hair up in the things, in the little rollers. And then when they took the rollers out, their hair would just, women actually put a lot more effort into themselves. They trying to take too many shortcuts now. So now, then they started doing the curl wand hair, and then they would say, I don't want to burn my hair out, or my edges, the edge thief came and took my edges out. And so then they start getting pieces in their head. And then when they get them pieces in their head, they get the horses in their hair. Or they get a wig. They get a whole wig on their head. Put the hair hat on. And then they get that wig. And then when they get the wig on, you say, girl, why are you wearing that? You don't need that. Your hair is beautiful. It protects my real hair. Well, what the fuck we need your real? I'm sorry. God, forgive me. Forgive me, Lord. Why do we need your real hair if we'll never see it? What are you protecting if I've never seen it before? Man, listen, bro. It was women for, I would say, maybe 6 years. I had never seen their real hair before. And then I had popped up over my homegirl's house, and I guess she was the one that was doing the other girl's hair. I said, who was that handsome man in there? Who was that handsome man in there? They said, that's Keisha. That ain't Keisha. That's Keisha's brother. That gotta be Keisha's brother. Cause then they would have them cornrows. They had them little mini micro cornrows going up in their head. And they would get the cornrows and then they put that little sticker on the front of their head and they Put the weave on it. Just for me. And it be flowing. Just for me. They put them stickers on their head. They do that cut on that thing. They cut that that stocking cap. They put some glue on the front and the sides. Put the sticker on it. I said, that's a whole process. Looking like John Morant.
Businesses to continue trading with the United States.
I imagine that some of us may not have the budget to continue. Most of the stuff now that we are paying for, the price that we're getting charged is the price that we were charging the customers. So of course we can't stay in business if we keep the prices the same. So now we're working on making sure that, the margins are still there, but making sure that we are, not making it unbearable for our customers.
The business owners say they are trying to be as transparent as possible with their customers so they don't have sticker shock. I'm told hair is the first item that the cost.
God forbid that hair that comes from China being sold to your people. We gotta get the hair. We need the hair from China. Maybe the tariffs ain't so bad after all.
Went up on.
All right, thank you, Tiffany, and as I mentioned, we appreciate your ongoing support.
As there seems to be no end in sight, they say now is the time to support your local businesses.
Now it's just a waiting game just to see, okay, which vendor is going up next, and we only go up when they go up. We're not going up across the board because that's just not fair to the customers.
So this also comes at a time where the business owners, they say they plan to open a second location within the city on Memorial Drive.
So, anyways, tariffs are preventing China. And also, it's so funny because I was looking at a video where they were basically saying that the trucking industry is also going to be impacted because not as many loads. So y'all definitely going to have to learn how to read and write English. But neither here nor there. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. We're not going to trip off of y'all. We love y'all anyway. We love y'all with short hair, long hair. Just do your hair. All right? Let me read a couple of the super chats and then we'll move over to the next part of the show. Shout out to Fudge357 says black in name only. Here to support the show too. Thank you, big dog. I appreciate you. Mark Evanson says they can't read the word. That's why they don't believe. Their values match up to a pig and a horse with less intellectual capacity than a fruit fly. Thank you, Mark Evans, and I agree with you. Mr. Lott says, I thought they already stocked up at Target when the boycott happened. Talk about it. Now they don't want to boycott Target no more. AR says, AD, women know how to do their hair. They just want to do hair. They just want to do hair bought store or store bought hair. I know what you meant. Can you believe it? High Tolerance says, Keisha is big mad. I thought these were $3.99. No. $5.99. It's $5.99. $5.99. Keisha, you got me twisted. And Ming Ming says, tariff $9.99. Molly says that Indian Remy hair comes from sewers in India that they disinfect and sell to the black community. You know people don't care nothing about that. They putting that wig on. They going to let that dye melt inside of their head, and that's going to be the end of it. Thanks, Trump, making hair real again. Shout out to Trump. Darkside goes on to say, hi, Anton. Greetings from the UK. How are you? Thanks for navigating and exposing the ignorant example in last night's show. So many of us don't have to. May God bless and keep you in your purpose. Thank you, Darkside. I appreciate you. JP comes on and says, AD, Leticia James is on her own I Choose You tour. We going to pass on that tour, though. We going to pass on Leticia James. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. But speaking of tariffs, Trump is also willing to put tariffs on the music industry, the movie industry. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to go over first to talk about how China is being affected by the tariffs, and then what is happening in the movie industry also.
Welcome back. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent with breaking news to investors yesterday here from the Milken Conference, saying that substantial progress on China trade talks could come in the coming few weeks. President Trump says he will not bring down tariffs to get China to the negotiating table, but notes that Beijing is going to have to make a deal because they need the U.S. consumer. A new report from the Wall Street Journal shows data needed to analyze China's economy is vanishing. Chinese officials no longer publishing data points like unemployment and land sales and foreign investments. Joining me now here at the Milken Institute International Chairman, Senior Fellow and Advisor Curtis Chin. Curtis, you just made the point, you don't hide data when it's good data.
Absolutely. You know, it's really par for the course. It's not just this year, but in prior years, when things looked bad, the data was not forthcoming, which makes it, this is all about investors here. I mean, it makes it tough for investors, and it's probably we're probably going to see less and less, again, foreign direct investment into China.
By the way, the data that we did see last week was painful. Manufacturing was down, exports were down. So the tariffs that President Trump has begun to institute are working, apparently.
Well, I think, we have to find what do we mean by working? And, in terms of, is, of course, the consequence on the people there. But the reality, indeed, across the world, President Trump is driving the agenda. And with your for or against tariffs, you cannot deny that it's led to discussions that hopefully will be the benefit, not just for Americans, but for other countries, and making sure it's a sustainable trading relationship between the U.S. and them.
So essentially what he's saying is this is something that had to happen a long time ago. It was supposed to happen a long time ago, but everybody kept kicking the ball down the road. We like to kick the can down the road because we don't actually want to deal with and address the issues that is happening in society and worldwide. We don't. And so what they're not telling you and what I've been studying, and see, you're not going to actually see the real because we have free speech and we have freedom of press. And so we are experiencing growth inside of the United States of America while also inspiring. I was talking to a guy early this morning and he was helping me with some of my bags and he said, Anton, what do you think that do you think that the people that create businesses inside of the United States of America, people that actually contribute and he is so funny because he asked me questions every single morning. Anton, what do you think about this? Anton, I seen your show yesterday. Anton, this and that, and so on and so forth. He's the valet guy in my building. And so he was asking me a question and he was saying, Anton, what do you think will be the benefit of starting a business right now? I said, if it's something that's in demand and something that actually pushes out American products that allow for you to compete against other people and you market it effectively, you'll become a millionaire, 100%. Is no way, in my opinion, that in this economy that we're inspired to create our own businesses and be sustainable amongst each other. Listen, you don't even have to create a whole store. You don't have to create a boutique. You need to come up with one product. One product. I seen a guy that already was in I don't know what he messes with cowhide and he does makes buckles and he makes brass pieces and all of this stuff. And so he used to do like custom purses or custom work when people would commission him to do it. Well, prior to Trump getting in office, they wound up pivoting over into creating a belt company. And so he used the highest quality materials. He actually markets his product and shows what the process is. He invested in himself. And so now he sells standard belts, but then he allows for people to pick and customize what size that they want. And then he guarantees, since it's an American-made product, what products from here that it's going to last you a lifetime. And he gave a lifetime guarantee for the belt itself, which allows for you to be able to replace it if anything ever happens. Booming. Booming. Absolutely booming, killing it on all fronts. And he's charging a premium for it because it's a really, really great quality product, but he's learned how to market it effectively. What this is supposed to also do is make us more self-reliant and interdependent on each other. The one thing that I hated that happened, that a lot of people wasn't just, being of a certain age, you can kind of see things, right? The one thing that I hated that happened over the last 20 to 30 years is that you guys let big box stores destroy your neighborhoods. You did. You let the Walmarts come in. You let the big old grocery stores come in. Back in the day, it used to be, because somebody said, I asked somebody if they had meal prepped, and they said, no, I just ate leftovers or whatever. Back in the day, it used to be where you bought what you needed and you lived, worked, and played all in the same area. and everybody supported everybody. It was one guy in the neighborhood, and he was a butcher. And there was another guy that was in the neighborhood. He did all of the bread and he did the pastries. There was another person that was in the neighborhood, and they basically made all of the milk deliveries. And so you had a whole lot of small businesses because America was more innovative, and you feel the need inside of your neighborhood or your community, and it allowed for you to be able to raise your children on. You had a decent salary. You hired other people. You hired other young people or teenagers or people that was a part of the community, and you were able to self-sustain. But nowadays, the only thing that we care about is massive deep freezers inside of our basements and making sure that we get bulk stuff, bulk goods. It broke the neighborhood. It broke small businesses. It broke communities. And then what we use, or what they use, the big box stores, because all y'all did was mimic the big box stores. What they used was products that was imported from China, and because they killed small businesses that we were willing to pay a premium, we walked more, we went over to these places. Mother made meals every single day, and she made it based off of whatever she needed. She would send you to the store and give you a piece of paper and say, hey, get these ingredients. You went, you got those ingredients. She made meals for the whole day for the whole family. The dad came home from work, and y'all had dinner, and y'all operated as a family, and people actually dressed up to go to baseball games. It was more interconnected. Now, they've basically killed off your small businesses, made you self-reliant on products that come in from out of the country, and now you're complaining because you're addicted to it, and it's like a dope fiend. You like a dope fiend. You're like a dope fiend. You know what killed the milkman? The big box stores. They used to fight Walmarts and different big box stores from coming into their neighborhoods. Now what y'all say? I want to get a job at Costco. Now you looking to get a job at Costco. I've seen teachers and people quit their jobs to go and get a job at Costco. Crazy. Grandma was a part of the teacher. She ran the teacher program. Mama was a stay-at-home mom until all of her kids was out of the house, and then she became a teacher also. Daddy was making sure that he took care of everything, and he had his own small business. Big box stores came in, killed everything, and now y'all interdependent on it, and y'all complaining because y'all can't get Chinese products no more. And China is suffering. They have state-ran, country-ran media, so they're limiting the amount of information that's coming out. But the businesses are suffering bad. They saying that people are going out of business. Things are shutting down. Famine is starting to set in because the workers that was a part of these factories, they're not making no money no more. So the people are suffering. The difference is that we're just basically saying, oh, wait a minute. We didn't need to be that much of a consumer. We were overbuying. Oh, they didn't need Pop-Tarts. That was bad for you. Oh, you don't need Gushers and Fruit Loops and Fruit of the Looms and all of this stuff. Wait a minute. We don't really need all of this stuff. What is it that we really need from these people again? Okay. All right. I got you.
You know, today, knowing that you've got a lack of data, how would you assess the Chinese economy?
Not well. I think that's the bottom line. We're seeing reports before the data vanished.
Right.
Again, about job losses. You know, China is all about stability.
They crash.
And so that government needs to think through, what do they do? You know, when products are not being purchased, when there's no jobs for the people. You know, China has protests. Sometimes we don't hear about them so much. And what they worry about most are protests from workers, not students, but it's about workers.
The last thing Xi Jinping wants to see are thousands of people in the streets like Tiananmen Square.
Well, I think probably no one wants, you know, violence and protests. But clearly, I would hope that Xi Jinping, as the rest of the world, really wants a better life for Chinese people, too. Really, the Chinese are often the victims when things like this happen and things disappear.
So how does that happen? I mean, there's this massive gap, right? The wealth gap.
Yeah, clearly in China, not just in China, in many parts of Asia, there's growing inequality. You know, clearly China needs to rebalance its economy. They've talked many years about increasing domestic consumption, and so that things aren't just driven by real estate, by exports. You know, the fear now, I'm based with Milken in Asia, and the fear now often in large parts of Asia isn't so much just the direct consequences of tariffs, but the indirect impacts if that leads to China flooding the market with inexpensive goods that might have otherwise gone to the United States or Europe.
Right, and President Trump is well aware of that.
Absolutely.
By the way, now the president is set to go to the Middle East next week. He's visiting Saudi Arabia. He's going to Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. You are just back from Saudi Arabia, right? You also have an op-ed for Fortune. You're questioning whether or not Saudi Arabia is the next China or India. Tell me about your trip and what you're expecting from President Trump in the Mideast.
Sure. I mean, I'd say what a blessing that I was able to go to Saudi Arabia, encourage people to go to. You know, the Saudis have a significant presence here at Milken Institute, not just this year and prior years. Clearly, if I were to sum it up with a headline, this is a kingdom on the move. And so blessed to be there, had the chance to do everything from try out their new subway system, really the longest, like almost robot-driven subway system in the world, but also a chance to meet everyday people. And again, I had some preconceptions.
What you know about the China Observer? What y'all know about the China Observer channel? They do show it. They leaking footage of what's really going on over in China, and people are crashing out over tariffs. Trump knew exactly what he was doing. And now the Chinese are looking to come to the table. I seen that Mark Carney is over in the White House, and we're going to talk about that later tomorrow. But I see Mark Carney is trying to bend the knee and trying to figure out getting a deal with the Trump administration now that he's been elected prime minister over there in Canada. But we'll see what happens.
Some clearly have changed now that I've been there. And so on Fortune, I and a co-author posed that question. Is Saudi Arabia the next China or India, this Asian nations that really going to power the world and power imaginations? In reality, the answer is somewhat no. It's a country, it's a kingdom of like 33 million people. But in another way, the answer is yes, this is a nation with the ambition of a China or an India. And how great that the United States and Saudi Arabia have this partnership as demonstrated by President Trump's upcoming visit to the kingdom.
So, yeah, man, the tariffs is continuing to happen over there in China. Lots happening, and the businesses are crashing out. And maybe y'all go over to the China Observer and pull some footage for you guys so that you guys can actually see it for yourself. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. El Castigator says, get ready to see women trying to throw Hail Marys from the 50-yard hairline. They'll figure it out. Call Me Mr. Bibb says, women are buying that Indian sewer hair that's been processed and sold to Americans. And the other hair is a different color polyurethane pellets. Ugh. Lil Black Duck 2001 says, don't forget that during the Wu flu, the government picked the box stores, the big box stores, to be the winners by forcing small businesses to stay closed. Yep, that is true. That is true. And they allowed the big box stores to stay open, and small businesses, they forced you to stay closed, and they gave you a little stimulus check. I want to revisit this whole conversation about the Hollywood really quickly. I was pulling up Bubs. Shout out to Bubs. I had to get some pictures of Bubs for you guys. Anyways, I want to get over to the Hollywood industry and tell y'all what's going on. All right. Well, it looks like we won't be talking about the Hollywood industry. What is happening over here? I wanted to talk about Bubs, and then I wanted to go over to Hollywood. Let me see something. All right, here we go. Let me see if I can pull this up for y'all really quickly. My dog Bubs. Why is that not pulling up? Bad.
President Trump unveiling a fresh set of tariffs today, this time on the movie industry. He says he's soon going to meet with representatives from the American film industry to discuss his plan to apply new tariffs to foreign-made films. Let's bring in CNN senior White House correspondent Kristen Holmes, who is live for us outside the White House. Kristen, of course, back after having a baby, and we're thrilled to have you here in the arena for the first time. Kristen, thank you so much. This is like another example, right, of the president continuing this push on tariffs, which he is, obviously very personally invested in, but it seems very unclear how this one would actually work.
Yeah, that's right. This is an industry that has a lot of ins and outs, and the way that this would work is really questionable because it's not as though you're just taxing one product that is made in one place. You're talking about a movie which, as we know, a lot of the different production houses are scattered across the world. I mean, they have different places that you film, they have different places that things are edited. So how you'd actually do this is really, there's a lot of questions. Now, this is what he said. He posted this on True Social. He said, the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. We want movies made in America again. Now, Kevin Liptak, our senior White House reporter, did learn that Donald Trump had dinner or met with actor Jon Voight over the weekend, who is one of his liaisons to Hollywood, a big Trump supporter. So that could have played into this at some factor. But we also heard Donald Trump kind of seeming like he might be walking this back a little bit when he was just asked a question about it. Take a listen.
Hollywood doesn't do very much of that business. They have the nice sign and everything's good, but they don't do very much. A lot of it's been taken to other countries, and a big proportion. And I'm actually going to meet with some because, there's some advantages, I guess, and I'm not looking to hurt the industry. I want to help the industry.
So you can hear there that clearly he had talked to somebody who said it might hurt the industry, because since he said that he didn't want to hurt the industry, that there could be some advantages. As we know, there are a lot of advantages to these various productions being filmed overseas, like tax incentives. So it'll be interesting to see where this actually goes.
Again, possibly making it a lot more expensive for American companies to make movies to then have.
So wait a minute. We're supposed to support everything that happens outside of the United States of America. So if a movie company actually brings production here, hires workers here, hires filmmakers here, hire editors here, hire directors here, that they would actually get incentives. There are states and there are cities that actually offer incentives to certain industries. I believe Tennessee offers some incentives. Obviously, Atlanta's offers some incentives. But Hollywood is the one that is complaining the most. So the Hollywood people are complaining and saying, wait a minute, we want to figure out how we can create more jobs here, or we got a lot of people leaving. One of the things that I observed when I went out to go film the Dr. Phil show originally, the first time that I went out to Hollywood and I went to go film the Dr. Phil show, aside from the stench that came along with being on Hollywood Boulevard and all of that stuff, and I seen all of the fake Michael Jacksons and stuff out there, they was looking bad out there. But aside from what I seen from that lens, the other thing that I seen was, and I paid attention to what was happening at the production studios because Dr. Phil was filming. I believe he was filming at like Paramount Studios or something. It was the big old parking lot. And I kept you guys informed and all of that type of stuff, right? But then the next time that I went and filmed Dr. Phil, he was actually over in Dallas. He had built an entirely different production studio over in Dallas, and he moved to Texas from California. And so, I started paying attention to that. I also seen that people were filming more of their films outside of Los Angeles and California because it became too expensive for them to film there. And they were tired of all of the liberal woke policies and the stuff that was happening over in California. Then you seen Tyler Perry build his studio, and he was basically doing it at a fraction of the cost of what it costs to actually film some of these big budget films. And so what Trump is basically saying is, maybe we need to look at more than just the products that we use, because also, and I believe what gave him the idea was that because other countries couldn't really hit us the way that they wanted to hit us as far as tariffing back on us, well, what would happen was they would say, and we don't want to show y'all movies, and we want to potentially tariff any American-made films that are shown over here inside of our country. And so what Trump is basically doing is saying, wait a minute, so maybe we need to bring everything back in-house since we are the ones that spend the most money on the things that we're buying.
have, sell to American consumers. Kristen Holmes, thank you. Great to see you. Hope we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, so with no end in sight for Trump's trade war with China, the president is doubling down on this cheerful Christmas in July message for Americans.
I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
All I'm saying is that a young lady, a 10-year-old girl, 9-year-old girl, a 15-year-old girl doesn't need $37.
I do think that
You can be very happy with
Atlanta and Georgia is probably the new Hollywood, to be honest.
I think he missed the memo that 15-year-old girls these days just want, what's the elephant skincare? I'm not cool enough to know what it is.
Drunk elephant.
Drunk elephant, thank you. You must have a daughter in this age range.
I do.
Okay, there you go. And not dolls.
I want that desk. Hey, low key, I want that desk. That desk is kind of fly. I'm gonna have to bring somebody in here to make me that desk. That desk is sweet as hell. I don't feel like they deserve it. I think that I deserve that desk. Yeah, I think I need that desk. And then they got the screens. And okay, I'm about to change my studio again. Yeah.
Hey, Lulu, you and I were on this set at the end of last week, and we'll let these guys argue about whether or not this matters in a second, but one of our friends of the show was arguing this comment, was going to be lost in the noise. That may have been true if Trump had said it that one time, but he said it that time and then a second time. And I mean, the Wall Street Journal wrote it this way, quote, past presidents have urged voters to tighten their belts because of war, pestilence, natural calamity, economic contagion, or their predecessors' mistakes. Mr. Trump is the first to do so because of his own policy decisions and his stubborn...
Check this out, y'all. I want to show y'all something really quickly. Damani Scott says, so the thumbnail shows the revenge story, but Anton has not talked about the story the whole podcast. That's hella weird. Cause somebody helped Damani Scott inside of the chat, who was 2 hours late to what we talking about on the show. I've been streaming for over 2 hours and 5 minutes. Sir, we talked about that for about 45 minutes. Catch up, bro. Catch up. You was late. You missed the giveaway. You missed the conversations. You missed the real ID. You missed everything. And then they be typing in the chat. They be so confident when they type in the chat and they say stuff. God bless you. I'm in a good space today.
Insistence on sticking with them. In Mr. Trump's America, you get $2 only. You pay more, and you be sure to thank the man in the handmade silk tie on the way out.
Well, enough said. I don't think I can top that. Yes, I felt this was going to be a big deal. Also because it would have been malpractice on the Democrats' side if they hadn't made it a big deal. So just that alone. Mm-hmm. But I will say this. The way that this is being portrayed is everyone's rich in America and they're going to have $30 and you can just have 2 or 3. But the fact is that there are a lot of kids who aren't rich and a lot of families who aren't wealthy. And if dolls are more expensive, it might mean that they get no dolls. So it's not just this idea of like everyone is just crazy mad and buying as much as they can, which, by the way, America was built on. It's the capitalist system. But it's also this idea that there are a lot of people who can't afford things. And if things are more expensive, that means that maybe little Jimmy or little Susie might not get their dolls that they want. Because they're action figures, too. This is not just little girls. Little boys like dolls, too.
Oh, I have a lot.
This is so dumb. Did CNN really just do a whole panel about dolls? Seriously? So wait a minute. In this tariff conversation that is enriching other nations, including China, are these pundits really concerned about whether or not little Jimmy gets 5 dolls or he gets 1 doll? Little Jimmy don't even need no dolls in the first place. Are they seriously going off on the Trump administration about how many dolls the little girls and the little boys, because they're not rich and they want dolls too? Are we really having this conversation? What is going on? What's happening? This is the thing that Trump would complain about and say this is why CNN is going bankrupt and why they had to do layoffs and why their profits is down. This is why Trump calls CNN a third-rate organization. Seriously? Come on, family.
A lot of Spider-Man dolls.
Thank you.
Dolls in the house. Matt Gorman, so I cut my teeth, as you know, covering Mitt Romney's.
She don't even know what to say.
Who famously once said that corporations are people, and that was very, did not go over very well. He had a number of other lines.
Flashbacks.
Good one. He was also there.
They brought these people in there to talk about dogs.
And in those instances when he would say things like that, or any candidate that's not Trump, you all scrambled to correct it, right? And, he, I think, still believes the point that he was trying to make. But there was an understanding that politically this was not really the best thing to do. I never thought in my life I would hear a Republican politician making this argument, like telling little kids they had to have less because of something that you did from a strictly winning elections perspective.
I hear you. And I was.
This is so dumb, bro. How much do a dial cost? How much does a dial cost, y'all? Let me go look it up. I always like to just look for myself. The Mattel dial is $25. Somebody inside of the chat said that you can get a dial from Ross for $5. They got the Disney dial for $10. $14. $13 if you want to get a Disney Princess Sea and Land Ariel Petite dial set. If you want to get the whole set. $14 for the strawberry shortcake 14-inch strawberry shortcake rag dial. Are we seriously? Kenya's, they got the black dials. Kenya's 16-inch hair growing posable dial with accessories. Ooh, did y'all know that? I didn't even know that they were selling these. They selling dials to teach y'all how to get to the hair beast. Did y'all know this? I didn't know that they was teaching y'all and indoctrinating y'all. Have y'all seen the new Kenya doll that they selling at Walmart? You can get this Kenya 16-inch hair growing posable doll with accessories. Used to be $20, $19.97. Now it's $15.55, and you can get it at Walmart today. Listen, go outside, bro. Go outside. All we did was ride bikes and hoop all day long. Honestly, the only time that we played video games was in the wintertime. Go outside, bro. Go outside. Go get you a coloring book. Go outside. Stop being so easily manipulated. And most of these kids only play games on their phones anyway, so you ain't even got to worry about no tariffs on that. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. What we got going on next? Shout out to Regina G, first of all. I appreciate you for the 2-ball. Thank you, Regina. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. Mike Pence. Mike Pence decided to rise from the ashes and give his thoughts and basically talk negatively about Trump with regard to tariffs, Russia, and pardons. Y'all, Mike Pence went to the ops. Mike Pence went to CNN and he said that I want to get more visibility into my life. Mike Pence is back in the news, y'all. He said, I'm back. And not only am I back, but I'm going to talk negatively about Trump because obviously we know that Mike Pence was incompetent and he was replaced with a J.D. Vance who is incredibly smart and is wise and is smart. Milky Mike came out of retirement to do a CNN interview because that's the only person that would give him an interview to talk negatively about Trump. I haven't seen this. I want to see what he has to say. Let's explore it, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for being here. And
Mr. Vice President? Hold on. Let me see something. Why did they call him Mr. Vice President and he's not the president anymore? And of course, it would be Trump's number one op reporter, the one that he said that was a third-rate reporter.
I should note where we are. We're in Boston at the JFK Library because you just received the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award last night for certifying the election results in 2020. And in your acceptance speech, you invoked the Constitution. And you said it's the common ground on which we stand. How has that been a guiding principle for you?
Well, it's good to see you, Caitlin. Thanks for traveling up here to the Kennedy
I'm
Library.
gonna read the cash app
deeply
shortly,
humbling
too, y'all.
for me to receive the recognition, the Profile and Courage Award last night. As I shared with his family, President Kennedy was an inspiring figure. Since so number of Americans that the Constitution is the common ground on which we stand, and I saw that firsthand over the last 4 years when people literally from every political perspective have stopped me on the street, walked up to me in airports, and simply expressed appreciation for the fact that as I said last night, that I believe I did my duty under the Constitution on that fateful day to see to the peaceful transfer of power.
Sell
the
out.
American people cherish our Constitution. They cherish our rich traditions in liberty, and I think recognizing that the people of this country will always stand on that common ground, it should be a great source of encouragement to all of us.
This guy is boring.
When President Trump was asked if he thinks that he has to uphold the Constitution, he said, quote, "I don't know." Is there any doubt in your view that the president must uphold the Constitution?
Well, we all take the same oath, which is we put our left hand on a Bible and raise our right hand. And we swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And despite our enduring differences about my duty 4 years ago, I believe President Trump understands that well. I honestly, Caitlin.
All right, y'all, let's pivot. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to just tell you right now, I can't do it. I'd rather switch over to something different. This is very, very boring. I'm not feeling it. And it's a reason, I guess, that we never really heard from Mike Pence. So we're going to pivot for a second. Let's pivot, y'all. Let's switch it up. Let's change this. Let's go with, I have something in the tuck. Just in case. I've been meaning to review this anyway, and so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to this one. Let's go with Brandon Tatum. I like Officer Tatum. I heard that Brandon Tatum and Stephen A. Smith actually had a conversation in a debate. Let's go over to this one, y'all.
Joining me now to discuss this, and he has a strong gentleman. Nice to finally meet you. How's everything?
I'm blessed, man. God is good, man, and I'm
Shout out
really
to Brandon
excited to
Tatum.
talk to you.
Man, please, the pleasure is all mine, man. Even though, listen, there have been times when you've been critical of me. It's okay. I can take it. Damn it, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. It's no big deal, right? But before I even get into this interview, I need you to tell me, why do people try you physically? I mean, I just pointed out that you're a football player, former football player, police officer, but yet you got some fools out there that be trying you physically. I could understand if they came at me. What the hell are they thinking about coming at you?
Oh, man, Stephen A., really, to be honest, in public, people never say anything to me. A couple non-binaries on the campus of UC Davis decided to lose their mind, which I bet they will never do that again. However, most people, when they see me in person, they realize I'm 6'2", 280. They don't want nothing to do with me.
I would imagine so.
6'2",
I would imagine so.
280?
Let me get to a more civilized situation right now, because obviously you heard me a little bit earlier talking about D.L. Hughley. And before I ask you about him, I wanted to make sure you heard exactly what he had to say in the aftermath of Saquon Barkley, the star running back for the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, electing to go to the White House, and what D.L. Hughley had to say about him or anybody else who happens to be black that would think about going to the White House. Listen to D.L. Hughley talking on TMZ earlier. Check this out.
14 players said, I'm going to boycott this. Whose side are you on?
I think that it's not just political. What Donald Trump has done and is doing to black history is unsavory and is undeniable.
Unsavory?
Donald Trump is deliberately trying to erase black people's history for whatever quest. He's elevating Christopher Columbus again. So he deliberately is doing things to black people that isn't just political. And any black man that does it is going to obviously catch some level of heat. When a black person does it, I can when it's a black person, I can always tell what kind of black person. I can always tell what they are.
Whoa. Wait, what does that mean, Dia?
Saquon Barkley, he had a girlfriend and threw around the N-word a lot. and said she wasn't a gold digger and she wasn't messing with no broke N-words. He looks like that kind of guy that is indifferent to what black people go through. It's just true. And I think I've noticed that to be consistent with a lot of black people who show up. They have a shoe booty affect to them.
Most people that only depend on race to be able to have a conversation, think about it like this. I would be offended if the only thing that people ever reached out to me, especially if I'm a comedian or I'm supposed to be great in whatever my respective field is, I would be offended if the only conversations that people had with me is race-based conversations. Hey, what do you think about this person that went to the White House? Hey, what do you think about that cop in Cincinnati? Hey, what do you think about George Floyd? Hey, what do you think about Daniel Penny? Hey, what do you think about Kyle Rittenhouse? Hey, what do you think about this? If the only thing that you ever want to talk to me about is race-based conversation because I'm a race baiter, then I would actually feel like my purpose on this earth was being diminished and I would feel disrespected. D.L. Hughley is the biggest clown, one of the biggest clowns, and I've already said this. He was willing to sell out after he had already criticized, I believe, Kamala Harris. They paid him some money. He went over there and did his little show, this little comedian. He supported Kamala Harris. He went on his Blackity Black tour. And now the only thing that people talk about D.L. Hughley with is race-based. They gave him a little bone in order to, endorse Kamala Harris. They let him speak at one of the little events. And now the only thing he has to say is anything that anybody says differently from him about race. Hey, this person disagrees with you. They're actually a conservative. They want to go to the White House. Well, go ahead and call D.L. Hughley. Go ahead and call Ricky Smiley. Go ahead and call Roland Martin. Go ahead and call all of these clowns to get mad because guess what? They actually want to meet with the president of the United States of America that more or less align with what it is that they're doing.
You heard what D.L. Hughley had to say right there. You are a Republican. You have been on the record. You are a supporter of Donald Trump. You heard what D.L. Hughley had to say. Your thoughts?
First of all, D.L. Hughley has been historically one of my favorite comedians. I love D.L. Hughley, but I don't know what he didn't done. I don't know, he bumped his head or something, but he has lost his mind. And it's a shame that he has to go down the path of racism. I've met Donald Trump several times. I've been to the White House several times. Actually, Donald Trump met my dad at a UFC fight not too long ago, and my dad didn't even vote for Trump. So Donald Trump isn't what they're projecting him to be, but also the racism that exists amongst black people. Why is D.L. Hughley, who claimed to be a pro-black man, hating and talking down on another brother?
Yep,
just because you decide to love a woman that happen to not be black don't mean you're a sellout and you don't understand the black struggle. And Saquon Barkley, who's a rational adult, who wants to play football and enjoy his life and don't have to have a problem with Donald Trump because everybody said he does. I mean, he went and golfed with Donald Trump. He was flying on a, Marine One with Donald Trump. What's the problem with that? Unless you're a racist and you hate white people, you shouldn't have a problem with a brother loving a white person or a brother supporting a president just for the sake of him being the commander in chief. And D.L. Hughley just
agreed.
He bothers me so much because I just don't like what he says about black people, generally speaking, but I can go on forever about it.
What did you think about what he had to say as it pertained to Trump and the administration essentially trying to eradicate black history? Basically, whatever initiatives, executive orders, there's a lot of things that we can point to that people have believed that's what he was doing. What do you make of that and what Trump has done since he's been in office?
I think it's absolutely asinine to suggest that Donald Trump is trying to erase black history. That's the craziest thing ever. D.L. Hughley don't have any evidence whatsoever to make a claim like that, other than having Trump derangement syndrome. Donald Trump in his first term, he gave permanent funding to HBCUs. Donald Trump literally had every HBCU president in the Oval Office talking to them about things that they can do to improve black universities. Donald Trump, the operations zones, and I mean, you can go down the list and all the things that he's done that help in the black community. The people that have been a part of his administration. Is Byron Donalds a sellout? Is Clarence Thomas a sellout?
That's true.
I mean, all of these other
some people would say Clarence Thomas, though. Officer Tatum, some people would say that about Clarence Thomas. They do feel like Clarence Thomas has been one of those individuals that has no interest in pushing forth black causes at all. That has been said about him.
Why is everything a black? Okay, so if somebody can tell me, if somebody can give me some insight, he says Stephen A is a great interviewer, Adrian Jordan. Well, I hope so. He been in the media for like damn near 30 years or something like that. Can somebody tell me Anybody. Can anybody tell me, right off the top of the head, what is a black cause? Can anybody inside of the chat tell me what is a black cause? What is a black cause that needs to be pushed to make sure that things are equal, or that people have a, you know what they like to say, we have an even playing field, a level playing field. What exactly is a black cause? I thought that Clarence Thomas was a Supreme Court justice. What is a black cause? What exactly is a black cause? Because I know that a lot of black people actually support the immigration policies that allow for them to come in and take over their neighborhoods, but I'm not really sure. What is a black cause that needs to be pushed, personally? All right, let's go one step further. Hold on. Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? It's so funny. So let's go over to Ketanji Brown Jackson. Ketanji Brown Jackson is also a Supreme Court justice, right? Ketanji Brown Jackson isn't even married to a black man. So the first thing that I like to ask people that are so pro-black, which I don't agree, because I believe that everybody should be able to do what they want to do and talk to whoever it is that they want to talk to when they want to talk to it. Why is that? Why is it that because let me look at something else. Why is it that the most pro-black people don't even marry within their own race? How come y'all are so quick to support somebody that advocates for breaking up the family home, for the LGBTQ causes, for diversity, equity, and inclusion instead of merit-based causes? Why is it? How come nobody on a liberal side ever brings to the front of the congregation Ketanji Brown Jackson? And don't get me wrong, I think that she should be able to marry whoever it is that she want to marry. I'm 100% all for it. But what I'm trying to understand is, why is it so hypocritical? Why don't y'all have the same energy for the people that you disagree with, that are on the Republican side or as a conservative, versus somebody that is a liberal or support liberal causes? What is the pro-black issue that you guys are concerned about? That's all I want to know.
Long before Donald Trump came along.
And it's because of black people who inherently are in their consciousness are racist individuals, because they don't like Clarence Thomas because he got a white woman. But let me tell you this. I bet you $1 million you won't see D.L. Hughley talking about Bubba Wallace, the NASCAR driver that did the fake hoax with the noose. You'd never hear him talk about him, because he's willing to say all this activist stuff that he's not really believing in. But he got a white woman. So D.L. Hughley is inconsistent.
And Ketanji Brown Jackson got a white man. Who cares? Who cares? That is, you go where you appreciate it, not where you tolerate. Or maybe you got preferences for dating a white woman or an Asian woman or a black woman or whatever. It does not matter. What does that have to do with whether or not you are doing your job effectively that you were designated to do?
His projection against black people. I'll just say this. Black people cannot exist in America isolating themselves in a cocoon with other black people who, to be honest, hate on them more than white people do. And D.L. Hughley is a perfect example of it. Why won't you uplift your brothers? Why won't you celebrate the brothers that got invited to the White House that won the Super Bowl? Why wouldn't you? Because you just don't like Donald Trump? And I guarantee you'll never hear D.L. Hughley say anything negative about Donald Trump before he became a Republican president.
Facts.
That's why I don't have no respect for these dudes. And then I'll tell you this, Stephen A. They don't never talk about the thugs in our community.
Facts.
They never talk about the problems. I mean, consistently talk about the ailments that are in our community. Talk about, abortions that go on in our community higher than anywhere else in the country. They don't talk about the murder rate in our community that's higher than anywhere else in the country. They don't talk about the education system that has failed black people. They don't talk about these politicians that put illegal aliens before they put black people. Look at Brandon Johnson in Chicago. Billions of dollars spent on illegal aliens, won't spend a dime on black folks. Look at Barack Obama. He came from Chicago. Can't name me not one policy that benefited black folks, especially not in Chicago.
Facts.
But D.L. Hughley won't talk about these brothers. They won't talk about these hoodwinking snake oil salesmen that are acting like they're activists. For instance, Reverend Al Sharpton. These people are the most disingenuous individuals I've ever seen in my life. They can go on a boycott of Target, not realizing that there's black people that got product in Target. So why would you boycott Target and in the black communities where black people work at the Target? How about we stop wasting energy being victims and start supporting black people? Have a march to support black businesses, where we spend our money in black businesses, where we put our money in black banks, where we send our kids to black universities. Stephen A., you know why you would never see them do that? Because they wouldn't dare put their money in a black bank. They wouldn't dare send their kids to black universities.
He cooking.
And D.L. Hughley and the rest of them won't dare live in a black neighborhood. Ask Stephen A. where he live at. I guarantee you, we look it up, he live around a number of white folks. So this is why I don't believe these people and why they're detrimental to black people in America.
I got to take a break to pay a bill. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Brandon Tatum was out there cooking, and it's absolutely true, because I don't see them moving back into the hood to build up and make sure that they keep money inside of a black community, to have a black contractor, and then they take the white dollars from the jobs that they work. So hypocritical. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn your notifications. Let me acknowledge a few people before we get up out of here, because I definitely want to make sure that you guys are supported. I want to read some super chats and some cash apps. Manuel AG says, do her lips always curl up like that, always smirking? Calling it now. He's running as a Democrat the next 2028 election. Man, let me tell you something, Whiskey Pierre. Mike Pence couldn't win to save his life. Trump was the only person that got him visibility. Regina says the most weave technician clients aren't black. I don't agree with them either. I don't agree with the white women that's getting it. Jim Short says, used to like Tatum before he stated the Uvalde cops weren't cowards during that dark day. How do y'all pick one thing? So you can agree with somebody on 98, 99% of majority of what they say. And if they have a difference of opinion than you, I used to like them, I don't like them no more. Why don't y'all just agree to disagree? Why don't y'all just have a different opinion on things and then you move on? You chew the meat, spit out the bones, and then you like some stuff and you dislike. So it only take y'all one thing for y'all to dislike about somebody. Man, we got to stop being so emotional. We genuinely got to stop being so emotional. Anyways, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully y'all see y'all on the live stream tonight on After Hours. It has been a good show. Another good one in the books. Episode 90. We are on episode 90 today. Yes, we have crossed episode 90. Season 5, episode 90. It's hitting. It's hitting. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I want to also acknowledge, let me acknowledge a few people on Cash App also. I want to acknowledge Chef G Rap and Rand Wilson. Yakar, if you can get me that Cash App so I can send that $100 out, that'll also be helpful. Anyways, Chef G Rap says, y'all gonna unblock me now. You curse. Y'all block Chef G Rap? No, man, y'all ain't block Chef G Rap. I'm going to go through, hopefully today, and I'm going to see if I can find anybody that may be blocked. Got to make sure that they unblocked. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Peace.